Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. MainSource, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company. Fiber Internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Leaders from across the country are in Indiana discussing how to get a handle on the opioid epidemic.
We've got problems in our schools, in our courts, in the workplace. So it's something that we're going to need a lot of people to come together and resolve this problem.
What state officials are doing to stop drug trafficking and how new federal legislation might keep people from trying heroin in the first place. The U.S. is the only developed country that doesn't guarantee workers paid time off for medical or family reasons.
I would love to see some policies that that ensure that families get the time that they need to keep a baby healthy.
Ahead, why critics say that would create a major financial burden on businesses. Plus, the popularity of golf is declining, except among an unlikely age group. These stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Making headlines, Hoosiers are already flocking to the polls to cast their ballots. And the state's oldest zoo is in danger of losing its accreditation. Lindsay Wright joins us now. She has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Indiana has one of the nation's highest per capita rates of accidental shootings involving children, ranking 7th behind states like Alaska and Louisiana. Over a 2.5-year span from the beginning of 2014 through this summer, 40 children were killed and injured across the state. The children were ages 17 and younger. Mike Pence is blaming the media and Hillary Clinton for what he characterizes as a discussion of slander and lies targeting his running mate Donald Trump. Multiple women are leveling sexual assault allegations against the Republican presidential candidate. Pence told attendees at a GOP dinner in Pennsylvania this week that Trump denies accusations that he groped or forcefully kissed women against their will. In a 2005 tape released over the weekend, Trump talks about kissing and groping women. Early voting is now underway. Some Indiana County clerk offices had lines of voters queued up to cast ballots on the first day of early voting on Wednesday, nearly 4 weeks ahead of the November 8th general election.
Until November.
Well, some people are saying they're going to be out of town, but most people are saying they want to turn off the TV and get this out of the way and not watch any more TV.
I am so excited to vote for Hillary Clinton. I can't tell you how excited I am, and so I wanted to get out here just so I could not be rushed and take my time.
Right.
More Hoosiers are registered to vote this year than in any election for at least a decade. A growing number of Republican leaders are giving up on their party's nominee. A list the New York Times published, including 160 leaders who have said they will not vote for Trump, have withdrawn their endorsements of him, or have called for him to step down. No one from Indiana is on that list. Hoosier Democrats are calling on members of the Indiana GOP to renounce Trump.
Our congressional delegation, for the most part, has stood in full support behind Donald Trump, and so I think that says something, that they're putting party over country, and they're not expressing any sort of values as Hoosiers, and they're letting the major party nominee, who has said all these hateful things about Americans, really get away with it and not renouncing him.
Eric Holcomb, Pence's lieutenant governor, who is now seeking to replace him, says he's always intended to support the GOP presidential ticket, but now he plans to spend the coming weeks evaluating whether he still will. A measure you'll see on the ballot would add the right to hunt and fish to the state constitution. 19 states have such a law. The measure pits animal rights activists and the National Rifle Association against each other. The Humane Society says the proposal is a solution to a problem that doesn't exist because there is no movement to ban hunting and fishing. But the NRA says the organization wants to protect those rights before there is a threat. Indiana lawmakers say they expect to delay the rollout of a new standardized test for students until after the spring of 2018, missing the original deadline. A panel tasked with developing an I-STEP replacement has been meeting since May and analyzing what other states do. Legislators and Governor Pence scrapped the I-STEP after repeated test administration and technology errors. It's likely now that schools will continue using I-STEP for at least a few years. Indianapolis Archbishop Joseph Tobin is one of 17 chosen by Pope Francis for elevation to cardinal. The Pope chose 3 people from the United States. Tobin says he wants to continue serving as the Archbishop of Indianapolis while carrying out cardinal duties.
This archdiocese has been my teacher and continues to be. And the people for whom I serve and work have a formative influence on me.
Experts say Tobin's selection reflects Francis' concern for refugees. Tobin opposed Governor Pence's position against settling Syrian refugees in the state. A federal appeals court upheld a lower court ruling last week blocking Pence from preventing state agencies from helping Syrians resettle in the state. An appeals court has vacated a decision by 3 of its own judges who ruled that a federal workplace discrimination law doesn't cover sexual orientation bias and ordered a rehearing of the issue by the full court. Kimberly Hively, a former part-time instructor in South Bend, accused Ivy Tech Community College in her suit of not hiring her full-time because she's lesbian. The 3-judge panel's July ruling sharply criticized the lack of sexual orientation workplace protections in U.S. law, but it said it was clear those protections don't currently exist, and so the suit should be tossed. Rehearings are rare and can indicate some judges believe the initial ruling was flawed. Indiana farmers are harvesting a record amount of soybeans, but those gains are being offset by lower than expected corn yields. That means farmers' profits margins will be tight or even negative this year. They'll know for sure when the harvest ends next month. The restoration of a historic bridge in Paoli will cost almost $750,000. The bridge collapsed on Christmas Day when a truck driver ignored weight limit signs and drove over it carrying close to 30 tons. Vincennes-based CLR Construction and the Indiana-owned VS Engineering were awarded the contract for the project.
Well, I guess we pretty well made a deal with a construction company and an engineering company to fix the bridge, or going directly with the insurance company.
Crockett says the county chose VS Engineering because the company has experience restoring older structures. Construction should begin later this year with plans to reopen the bridge in 2017. Bloomington plans to replace nearly 24 anti-panhandling signs that were stolen. The city installed the signs last week to encourage people to donate to nonprofits instead of giving money to panhandlers. In a matter of days, all but 5 of the signs were stolen. Each sign costs about $30 to replace. Indiana's first zoo is in danger of losing its accreditation because of maintenance. Becca Costello reports.
The National Association that accredits zoos and aquariums has given the Mesker Park Zoo in Evansville 1 year to address a number of maintenance issues, like rotting wood, trip hazards on the walkways, and mold and mildew in some buildings. Many of the animals at the Mesker Park Zoo are on loan from other zoos across the country. They'll take their animals back if the zoo loses its accreditation, and the maintenance issues will be expensive to fix.
We are a department within the city of Evansville, and we compete for dollars with the fire department, the police department, water and sewer department, and the administration is trying to juggle all those things with the tax dollars that they have.
City Council approved giving the zoo an extra $112,000 to start on repairs immediately, and the city just this week approved an additional $900,000 for larger maintenance repair and to add a new penguin exhibit. The Mesker Park Zoo will be reevaluated for accreditation in September 2017. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Becca Costello.
Leaders from government, higher education, and the field of development met in Bloomington this week for a conference focused on innovative warfare technology. Meredith Juliet reports on how the group hopes to encourage innovation.
The innovation hones in on 4 core areas: defense technology, manufacturing, life sciences, biomedical, and IT cyber. Conference leaders say technology is the key to keeping the U.S. military a step ahead of its enemies all of the time. The conference was the first of its kind, bringing all the big partners together at the same table.
So we're really trying to take a progressive approach to be real intentional and strategically committed to enhancing these partnerships in a much broader way so that we can, again, identify the best opportunities to field innovative sensors and weapon systems that continue to put our warfighters in a superior technological position when they're on the battlefield.
Warner says Crane has been building its research and development arm, and along with that, strengthening its ties with universities in Indiana. He says the number of civilians working at Crane is at a 20-year high. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Meredith Juliet.
Sounds like a pretty incredible event. I don't think I would know what they were talking about if I was there.
Neat stuff. Thanks, Lindsay. Yeah. Indiana is one of a dozen states that received a near-failing grade on a recent report analyzing states' paid leave policies. The U.S. is the only developed nation that doesn't guarantee workers any paid time off for family or medical reasons. Some states are passing their own laws to support working families, but as Barbara Brozier reports, Indiana isn't among them.
Let's hear you play the drum.
Every moment Emily Wickersham spends with her daughter is one she cherishes.
This is our first baby. This is Rosalind, and she's 10 months old.
Wickersham had Rosalind last October, and it wasn't until she got pregnant that she started looking into her employer's family leave policies. She teaches at the Monroe County Community School Corporation.
By state law, all of the state employees that are full-time employees, we can take up to a year off and keep our position, keep our place, but we can take 12 weeks leave.
But that isn't paid time off, which presents a problem for many working families. Wickersham says she's lucky. She was able to use a combination of paid days off and days from a sick bank she contributes to in order to cover her maternity leave. It meant only 3 of the 12 weeks she stayed home with Rosalind were unpaid.
I was really glad to even get 12 weeks because I can't imagine how we could have bonded and also for my body to recover and for the baby to be, in this world. I mean, everything is so new, and I know people that go back to work after 2 weeks.
For many families, there's no other choice. The Federal Family and Medical Leave Act provides some protections, but only unpaid time off. And it only covers about 60% of workers.
It requires employers of a certain size to provide some of their employees with unpaid job-protected time when they have a new child or need to care for a seriously a loved one or deal with their own serious health condition.
The National Partnership for Women and Children releases an annual report and assigns each state a grade based on whether they've adopted their own, more generous paid leave policies. Indiana is one of 12 states that scored a D-.
That means that Indiana does not provide paid family leave, and that's unlike a few other states in the country, California, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and soon New York. It doesn't provide paid sick days, as a handful of other states do. It doesn't do anything more in terms of providing unpaid job-protected time to new parents or even other family members, as many other states do.
Critics of mandatory paid leave policies say they're a financial burden to businesses. In its 2016 legislative business agenda, the Indiana Chamber says it opposes any expansion of FMLA at the state or federal level, such as lowering the employee threshold, providing paid leave through use of funds from Indiana's Unemployment Trust Fund, or through a new tax on employers. But Erin Macy, a policy analyst with the Indiana Institute for Working Families, says that stance is misguided. She says businesses that do provide paid leave policies reap several benefits.
They get reduced employee turnover. They get high buy-in from their employees. They get high morale. So you see bigger companies that can kind of afford to spread out that that leave taking.
California, New Jersey, and Rhode Island all have laws offering paid family leave. New York will soon join that group. And Macy says there are a number of ways Indiana could start a similar program.
We did have legislation that was heard in committee last session to offer a voluntary system of paid family and medical leave that employers could buy into. In other states, the plans are employee sponsored, so employees pay a couple of dollars a week and they receive the benefits.
Look at the kitten.
Back in Wickersham's Bloomington home, it's clear how important spending quality time with Rosalind is to this dedicated mom. She's hopeful federal and state legislators will put aside politics and give other parents the same chance.
I'm not a politician, but I would love to see some policies that that ensure that families get the time that they need to keep a baby healthy.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
The issue of paid leave is one that came up earlier this summer during both the Democratic and Republican national conventions. Hillary Clinton says if she's elected, she will champion the effort to guarantee up to 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave. She plans to pay for the policy with tax reforms. And Donald Trump's plan includes 6 weeks of paid leave for working mothers. He's also proposing a child care tax deduction to help working families. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. We visit a league of junior golfers that are bringing a boost to a sport with overall numbers in decline. And we've heard that it's going to take more than law enforcement to get a handle on the opioid epidemic. Ahead, what collaborative ideas are being tossed around at a meeting of stakeholders in Indianapolis. All that and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Nature takes you places where you've never gone before.
It's watching something that's actually happened.
Nature sure draw me in the story.
Just their power and their grace.
You know, it was just so beautiful to watch them.
The movement and just watching the body and watching the chase.
Like this huge, lush, vibrant watercolor.
Tim's.
There was such a shot of underneath watching these elephants swim in this deep water.
I had no idea even they could swim like that.
I saw one monkey pulling on this one monkey's tail, and the monkey like, man, what you doing? What you doing?
It's like the theater of the wild or something.
7 billion trillion animals living on one planet.
It's like more colorful than than you think life can possibly be.
Somewhere between the mystique and the beauty of it is reason enough to sit down and watch.
That's life, and that's nature.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. The opioid epidemic is killing more people than vehicle accidents. It's top of mind for a lot of people. More than 900 leaders from across the country and Mexico were in Indianapolis this week for a symposium on the opioid crisis. Lindsay Wright was there as the symposium kicked off, and she joins us now to tell us more. Lindsay, this event has been going on for many years, but what changed this time?
So I was told this is the first year that they're really focusing on heroin and kind of how to reduce that supply. It's a problem that's gotten worse. People are now cutting it with synthetic opioids, which has increased overdoses. And so there's been a big push for more collaboration. Indiana Attorney General Greg Zeller talked to me. He told me that he's been working with officials from Mexico, some who were at this event, to reduce trafficking to the state. So here he is talking to me about how the opioid crisis is impacting both the United States and Mexico.
They see the flood of weapons and money that go to the drug dealers and the drug cartels down in Mexico. So they have their own problems with this. We may have the problems of the drugs kind of ripping apart our families and our friends, but I think they share in this goal to try to cut this back.
So Lindsay, what were some of the key things that were talked about?
One of the big talking points was talking about how drugs are prescribed, which is ultimately what sent us down this rabbit hole that we're now having trouble climbing out of. So that's something that has to change. Congresswoman Susan Brooks talked to me about CARA, the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act. She thinks a significant part of that legislation is altering and moderating how drugs are prescribed. She told me that she thinks that starts with educating medical professionals, doctors, pharmacists.
Because what we learned through this journey is that actually our prescribers weren't getting enough education in med schools or in dental schools, and so we've been pushing the medical educators to be a part of the solution.
So there seems to be unanimous support for CARA, especially from the people who work in the areas of addiction, but there's this unfunded mandate. So what's the status on that, and how are they going to get around that?
So Congress approved a spending bill of $37 million, and that would go towards a variety of things, such as making more treatment available, because that's a really big problem. So that's new money for CARA, but that $37 million is nationwide. So it's unsure how much money will come to Indiana specifically, and that has people who work in the area of addiction really concerned, because without a significant pool of money, how do we combat these issues? Congresswoman Brooks talked about how funding is a problem because it's not just an Indiana thing, it's not even just a regional thing, it is a national issue and everyone is fighting it.
Okay, thank you very much, Lindsay.
You're welcome.
Fewer people overall are playing golf, and it's a trend that's concerning industry leaders. But one demographic of the players is on the rise, and as Lindsay Wright reports, it's changing the game.
Evan Yules is 13 years old. He's been playing golf for well over half his life under the watchful eye of his grandfather.
So he's been the mirror of us, and he's been guiding us, helping us every day as much as he can to help improve our game.
Yules plays on the Professional Golf Association Junior League. PGA launched the program 4 years ago, starting with 10 pilot programs around the country. Indiana quickly jumped on board the following year. Yules learned about the program a couple years ago, and he loves it.
You're by yourself, and if you make a mistake, you can't blame anybody else.
Indiana started with 59 junior teams. The second year, it was up to nearly 100 and now has about 120 PGA teams. That translates to about 1,300 players, and nationally, around 36,000.
And to think that none of those kids possibly were involved in golf 3 or 4 years ago, it's pretty impressive what we've done so far.
According to the National Golf Foundation, golf participation as a whole across the country has slightly declined, but junior golf, that's players age 6 to 17, is going up. Since 2010, it's increased by 20%. Roughly 3 million kids are involved in the sport. The attraction might be in the way the PGA Junior League is organized. To compete with other youth sports like Little League and soccer, PGA changed the game. In its Junior League program, the one Evan plays for, kids between ages 9 and 13 partner with a teammate and play in a scramble format. There are 5 or 6 pairs on a team. If someone on the duo has a bad shot, the partner is there to pick him or her up. And they all wear jerseys with numbers on them.
The team aspect is a huge part of it because it takes a little bit of pressure off the kids, but at the same time it adds a different element of pressure that, well, if I go out and play in a tournament tomorrow and I have a bad hole, it's just me. But with the junior league, hey, I could be letting my teammates down.
The regular PGA junior season is about 8 weeks long from the beginning of June through the end of July. Then postseason begins. Yules and his teammates are practicing for the postseason here. His team is one of the 23 all-star teams created in the state after the regular season finished. Postseason is slightly more competitive, and the winning team in the state then heads to regional play to take on teams from outside Indiana.
The chemistry and the sportsmanship and everything, they feed off of each other, and it's so much fun.
Rice says in some cases the young players in the junior league are even introducing their parents and families to the sport.
It's great to see a program actually it's growing the game, which is what we need to do to keep the golf industry going.
Yules says he'll remain a lifelong golf advocate. In fact, that's another reason for his love of the game. He not only can be a lifelong advocate, but a lifelong player.
Like most sports, you can't play for the rest of your life, but this, it's really the main sport that you can play every day as much as you want.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Lindsay Wright.
And Evan's team did well in the postseason. The all-star team fought hard and lost in what would be like in the Final Four in the state. A team from Carmel, Indiana ended up moving on to play in the regionals. IU coach Kevin Wilson is asking fans to come out and support the Hoosiers as they face Nebraska tomorrow on homecoming.
It's a great team coming in. They're top 10. They're 5-0. It's historically one of the premier programs, brands, college football. Our team's getting better. Our fans were awesome last time. I'd love a bigger crowd. I'd like to pack it up, fill that arena, get it loud, and go the distance, because it's got a chance, if we play well, to maybe be a fourth quarter game again. So great opponent, great challenge. We just got to keep working to get better.
Kickoff against the number 10 ranked Cornhuskers is at 3:30. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company. Fiber Internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.